Hello everyone. Today we're going to be installing the Reko Lighting UV Light R2000 inside of our air handler duct of our air conditioner.
Like, share, subscribe, and comment down below any questions about today's video.
Hello everyone. Welcome back. The R2000 is going to be a unit that is going to go inside of the ductwork. We're looking right now at an air handler. This is the inside unit of an air conditioner and heater. So a lot of times what will happen is you'll have coils that'll come inside, and sometimes they're in a straight line, but this one happens to be in an A frame. And what happens is there are different units that can come in. They can come right into the inside of those, and the lights will shine right onto the coils, and it's to kill any mold and bacteria and viruses, anything that is going to collect on those. The whole idea of this one is not necessarily to go into where the coils are. This one is to go into the duct. All right. There are good things and bad things about both. You're right. This one does not go and does not, shine the light right directly onto the UV, or the UV light directly right onto the coils. But this one prevents it from getting to the coils. So every air conditioner kind of looks a little bit different, but you can kind of figure those out when you look down here at the bottom. This here is your unit where you can see where the filter goes. That usually indicates that the air is coming down through and coming up through here, and then going back and going throughout the the building, whether it's residential or commercial. There's going to be usually air coming in one direction and leaving another direction. This situation, this setup, the air comes down this duct here, goes down into a box unit, and then from there it goes up and throughout the house. This particular unit will be installed on the inside on the duct. So you're asking, why did you choose this particular model over top of putting it inside of the unit where it would go right on the coils? The reason why I chose to go with this model was because the UV light is going to break down whatever it is shining on. So if it's inside of my air handler, it's going to start to break down some of the key components of my air conditioner. That's the part that really scares me, especially when air conditioners are so expensive. This is the reason why I chose to go and put it into this duct. This duct is very cheap and can be demolished and refitted within a couple hours maybe, and at the price of maybe $50. So I can really do this really easy, really cheap, as opposed to replacing this. We're talking thousands. I'm gonna every time choose to put it into the duct. That was my choice, and that's why I chose this particular unit and where I wanted to go with it. Now you're saying, how much did you pay for this? I think online we got it on Amazon for like $59. I'll look that up later and put that in the comments for everyone to be able to see. But I shipped it Prime a couple days later, had it here. And it's really going to be one of those items that is going to give us peace of mind. I know our family, we have a lot of different, allergies and different things that, are going to affect our family. And that's, what went into the decision to put this in. And at the price of $60, it can't be beat. Some things to get started. When working with insulation, and that's what that is inside of the duct, it's going to be the long silver, or the long type of insulation. That Corning glass, it will get into you. Some things I always offer is some baby powder. You can put it on your hands beforehand, and so as you're working with that fiberglass, it's less likely to get into your skin. It's less likely to have give anybody any issues or any types of problems. And if you don't have any baby powder, of course you can always go ahead and get some some gloves. Just put those on. It's going to help. That stuff will become airborne as you're working it. You're cutting it. It can go in, so a mask wouldn't hurt as much, hurt at all as well. Just know that when you're doing something this small, you're probably not going to need any of these, but they're worth mentioning for those people who are in a confined space that potentially they very much could. As far as the unit itself, there's two bulbs that come and get attached to here, but you want to make sure you don't touch those, and that's why I don't have those on right now. but you're going to have to also have access to an outlet, just a common outlet. Some other items you'll need too, or I have a couple screws that I suggest putting those into the insulation first, so that when you do cut the pieces out, that they don't fall down into your system. It wouldn't hurt anything. It's going to get caught up in the filter anyways, but it's just one of those things that if it does happen to go down there, you're going to hear it rattling around, and someone's going to say, what is that rattling around going on in there? When it's just insulation that happened to fall down. So we're going to use those as a way to prevent any problems in the future. Also, some squeegees. These here will take the tape, and it'll seal the tape down really well. And these are bought really inexpensively at a hardware store, and you can see it's just the Bondo brand. I think I got them at Walmart for a couple bucks. Another thing you're going to need is not necessarily a rusty knife, but just a knife. This is just one that I have laying around for jobs like this, where it can get the job done, but doesn't have to be pretty. Also, you'll need a marker to be able to mark exactly where you're going to do your cuts in the. All right, another thing too is the template. Worth mentioning here, this template kind of is really poor. The greatest thing I like about it is it says right there, do not look directly into the light. We don't want anybody going blind because they're looking directly into that UV light. Don't even turn the light on until you have everything installed. That is my recommendation. And you're going to see some safety things that we have in place that are going to help keep everyone, including family members, safe for future use as well. All right, guys, getting started, you're going to take the template and just cut some pieces out. It basically has the airflow. Those little arrows necessarily don't mean anything other than you want to make sure that those arrows, so the air is flowing this way through this duct, and I know that, but you want to make sure it's either flowing this way or that way. So the lights are going to be shining either way, but it needs to be going in sideways. The key that you don't want is so when the unit gets installed, it doesn't get installed up and down like this, because then it's not going to be as efficient killing what you want it to do. It's not going to be able to do its job as good as it could if you had installed it according to the arrows. All right, so again, what's going to happen is we're just going to come in with a marker. We're just going to come in and draw our simple little lines. Doesn't have to be perfect, can be very crude. All right, then what I suggest, and this is the part that I was saying before, is just taking a screw and just going all the way through it. Most duct is like 3/4 of an inch or 1.5 inches. Just get something long enough that you know you've gone all the way through it before you cut it. And of course, it works best if you have two. Now, before you cut, you're going to want to make sure you've turned the unit off. It's not going to hurt anything, but it could suck that inside if it's on. You don't want it sucking, and taking anything through your unit. So make sure that you've, done the electrical shut off, and that could be as simple as sometimes right on the unit there'll be a, an on-off circuit breaker. You may have to go to your, 200 amp or 100 amp or 150 amp panel located in your home and find what breaker that would be. It's usually going to be a 2-breaker 220 outlet, so typically 30 amp or more. So once you get that shut off, it could even be as simple as just going to your thermometer and going and saying off. And that, a lot of different units will have that, but it is truly best to go to the wall unit or to the electrical panel and completely shut it down. All right, so once you get that down and you're ready to cut, it's just something simple. You've got a nice little handle there. Just go in, got all the way down. Key is not going too deep in there. I know that you can see here, this is where I was pointing to earlier. This is about 6 or 8 inches here. So I know I can put the whole depth of that knife through there and I'm not going to hit the other side. But that's the key, is just not going through and into something else on the other side. But it's just an empty duct inside of there. All right, and just like that, we have what we need. And there's our second piece. Alright guys, now we're ready to install the unit. I've attached the bulbs. I've left the cardboard on there just so that I know that I don't touch the bulbs. Touching the bulbs is going to shorten the life of it, so you try to keep your hands and you know, oils and stuff from getting onto the bulb as much as possible. Now, before you install everything, of course, you're going to want to pull it back, and you're going to really want to look at the filaments inside of the bulbs. Make sure they're not, you know, the bulb didn't, you know, get damaged or destroyed in transit, and now you're installing it, because now you're gonna have to rip everything back off. It's just quicker, just a real quick look. You see, all right, it's fine. And then when you're ready to install it, you know, just pull your cardboard off. Being very careful again not to touch it with your fingers. Another thing you're going to want to do too is on the actual part that goes into this, the bulb where it goes into the fixture, you're going to want to make sure that you seat it very well. So you want to make sure that bulb gets all the way down into where it needs to go. Alright, so I think we're ready to go. Now what's nice about this unit is it does have a little indicator light to tell you when the bulbs are working. So if a bulb is to, you know, malfunction or to, you know, blow out in the middle of operation, your little indicator light should go off. I know I've read in some of the comments where they're very disappointed. Some of the people said that is not always a really good thing. They thought it was running the whole year, and meanwhile, you know, they're now scratching their head saying, all right, I think it could have been off the whole year, and the whole time this little light was shining. So in it goes. You want to make sure you get a good seal. And where the seal comes in isn't necessarily in the unit itself. The seal comes in with the tape. All right, so as you're starting to put the tape in, this is what is going to go on, and this is what is going to seal the unit to keep everything from, you know, sucking air. What you don't want is for your unit to start, you know, you can hear a whistling sound or something where now all of a sudden you've you know, gone into the duct and now it is, you know, giving a whistle sound. If you do that, I'll give you some fixes on how to, you know, to go in and problem solve that, but you know, it's up to you how you kind of handle all of those situations. All right, so here is a great little, you know, just simple, you know, credit card. You know, it doesn't matter what it is. Some people don't have the little squeegees. It's a cheap way, inexpensive way. You're just going to come into the unit, and you want to come in and you want to really get a good, you want all of that tape to lay down. All right, and that's what you're looking for. Now, when you're done, you can come in, you can see where this was someone took mastic and sealed this really good. You're not going to really want to do that. That would seal it completely. And I'm a firm believer in mastic. It works, especially in attics and crawl spaces and different places where it's, you know, to the elements, and it's, you know, a hot or cold spot. But in this situation, I don't recommend it, because you're going to be coming in and out of this. You're going to have to break this, you know, seal probably once a year to change your bulbs. So I don't recommend in this situation to do it that way. Again, I try to recommend just getting that as flat as possible. And you just repeat that all the way around it. sometimes that tape can be a little persnickety. Sometimes it won't work with you. Sometimes it'll come right off. Take your time with it. Make sure it's done right. All right, if you do use the squeegee or a credit card and you do that, it's going to seal it up really well. You're not going to have any air issues. In this situation, this is indoors. It wouldn't even hurt even if it wasn't sealed really well. But again, if you're up in an attic, you're in a crawl space, you're somewhere where it matters. If this leaks, you're going to, your efficiency goes down. You're going to want to really make sure that this is sealed up well. All right, guys, we now have the unit installed. You can't see it, it's just around the corner here. But here's the same duct. Now we're going to go to the next thing, which is I bought a pair of glasses down at the dollar store for like $1.07, and I made sure that it said that important little thing right there, ultraviolet protection. All right, we know it's a UV light. We know that this is not ideal. We know that putting this on there is not going to protect your eyes. But little kids, you can tell them not to look in there, but there's a light there and they're going to look in there, and it doesn't matter whether it's coming through a unit. There's going to be a light no matter what. They're going to look. It's just going to be something that the kid is going to do. This is the way that I thought would be the best way to protect, and those rays coming out, it's going to protect the whole room and everything around by doing that. We're okay with having to replace this duct. It's cheap, it's inexpensive, and it's not that much work. It is a lot of work to have to start replacing electrical panels or something around this area. This is electrical closet. You're going to see multiple things be affected when that ultraviolet light is coming through and causing problems. So my fix is to just take a simple pair of sunglasses and attempt to try to take the lenses out, and look at that, they just pop right out, and that's what I was hoping they would do. All right, and so once they pop out, of course, you're going to want to make sure you clean it. You're going to then want to find the correct placement on it. So as you're looking on this, you want to make sure that you are up above the unit. So if you stuck it down here, and that would be about even with the unit, you're not going to be able to see that both bulbs are lit. So what you're going to want to do is take it up a little bit higher. You're going to want to do the same process. The easiest way to figure out where that is going to go is to take the little plugs that you took out from the other side, and that's how much your insulation is going to be sticking through. So what is key is to find out where a good spot where you're not going to dig into this side over here or this side over here. Another problem that I foresee is this mastic. It's wonderful stuff, but when you try to get the tape stuck to that, not so wonderful. So you really want to stay away from any mastic if you can. And once you get that in there, you just get it kind of close. As long as you get it close, you're going to be okay. And then just draw your circle around it, just like we did on the others. Make sure, again, I'm being able to look down. I'm going to be able to see everything. And just come in and give you kind of just a square. All right, and just like before, take the screw. All the way through it. Gives you a nice little handle to be able to cut it out with. All right, now remember, we don't want this to go all the way through. So if we cut all the way out or perfectly around that, this could potentially get pushed through. We don't want the lens to be pushed into the duct. We want a little bit of a lip on there so that when we install it, it won't just naturally fall through. All right. All right, now The best option now is to take a flashlight, look down in there, make sure that you can see, because right now you can still adjust. If you need to cut some more of that insulation out, cut some more of that insulation out, but now's the time when you can make those adjustments, because once you get it installed and you turn everything on, there's no more adjustment. So right now you don't have anything turned on. The UV light is safe. You can look at the bulbs, everything's good, but you don't see them because there's no light on. So just grab a flashlight, look inside there, and just make sure everything is good, and then you can button it up. All right, guys, once we have the hole cut, now we're ready to install. Again, we're going to do it just like we did before. We're going to make sure that we tape it, we get it sealed nice and tight. We want to make sure that as we're putting it on there, we try to keep all the wrinkles off of it and out of it as much as possible. I like to use the squeegee as I go along. Everything seems to work a lot better as you go along, keeping everything nice and tight, nice and laid down. And here's a little trick as you get going on this. You can take the tape, find out where it goes, and just bend it. And that'll kind of be where you now know where that bend is. That's where you're going to cut it. And again, that tape will lay down anyways, so you just cut it. And that's it. Sometimes guys will use putty knives. You can use knives. This doesn't have to look pretty. Especially when it's sitting up in an attic and you're going to be the next person to see it when you change the bulbs a year from now. But like most stuff though, we all try to do, good work. We all, want everything to look nice, and, industry standards kind of says everything for most guys, me included. But that's all we're going to do is we're going to wrap this up and then we'll close everything up and do a final farewell, and we're going to come back as well and look at this to make another video to see if we agree that this thing has really worked, or it's one of those things that, hey, for 60 bucks we tried it, didn't work out, but we're going to let you know what we decide. All right, guys, as far as wrap up on this, it took us about 20 minutes to get the whole job done. We spent more time going and getting the right sunglasses and ordering the stuff off of Amazon and setting up for this video than we did actually doing the work on it. It really, as far as work, it really is probably minimal. You don't really need many tools. The power drill that I used could have been done and used with just a simple screwdriver. You didn't even really need to do that at all, but that's just one step that can work better for you should you choose. As far as you guys being able to see how this ended up, we have the unit on. We finished the taping on here, and as you look down in there, you can see that the light bulbs are shining. Maybe, where are they at? There they are. All right, it's hard to line it up on an iPad. All right, so, and again, as you look at it, it's kind of hard to see how the two are related to each other. But here's the eye. Here is the unit, and you're talking about 4 to 6 inches between the eye and the actual unit. So we went up about 4 to 6 inches, and it was really perfect because when you look in there, you can see the light bulbs perfectly in there. All right, if you guys have any questions, please put those in the question boxes, and we will definitely try to get those to you. But make sure you like us, make sure you subscribe, and make sure that you keep us doing more of these videos. So thank you guys for all the support. We'll talk with y'all later.